images they see of themselves and the people who claim to speak on their behalf. That's what we're discussing on We the People today. I want to start with Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh, My Name is Khan has been described by some as an important film, not just because of the circumstances in which it finally ran to full houses, but because you, as a Muslim in real life, have played a Muslim character on screen who isn't afraid to embrace his religiosity, and he's still a nice guy. We don't see too much of that in Hindi cinema, do we?
The reason we do have caricatures, whether they are Muslim or Hindus or even Christian for that matter, is so that, very quickly you understand this is where this person comes from, this is what it belongs to, and quickly it is very important that we need to know his religion in this film. So those are characters that we do. We are actually, we are to be blamed for that, all of us, filmmakers.
It's a kind of shortcut.
It's a shortcut ki, ye ho gaya na, abhi Christian hai. So, Margaret, and she will come out of the church, or a Muslim hai, Salim, and he'll have a beard, and it is not in any which way to say that it's a stereotype, it's just to do it fast, okay? But I think when people start making a film about a full character, I mean, it's not just coming in between, like say Khan was when Karan decided. My logic was, and I could be wrong because I'm not I don't have full knowledge of Islam or being a Muslim, to be honest, but the logic was that can we play him like we play a hero? We don't need to play the religious part of him as the hero. Let it be absolutely normal, because I'm a Muslim. And I don't wear it any other way. If you have a discussion on Islam, like all of us will be able to tell you here, all of us agree that yes, we can clarify point of views about Islam, how much ever knowledge we have, depending on that. But we have never really gone out and started stating that this religion is good or bad or nice or fantastic.
But isn't there a defensiveness sometimes?
Now, lately, I think there is a defensiveness that, everybody starts saying, and that's what we're trying to explain through the film, that listen, we don't need to be defensive. Just be yourself. Be your religion and be casual about it, normal about it, like you are in your houses. You don't need to really prove to the outsider any other way except by explaining.
So there's that scene in the film, you do your namaz. And you do your namaz despite the fact that a lot of the others around you are saying, nahi, yahan pe mat karo. And at least I can't remember the last time I saw, a hero who's also a namazi.
Yeah, maybe not in India. We have him. But to be really honest, jitna humko malum hai, namaz I was always taught, niyat se padi jati hai. You have to believe in it yourself. Nobody can teach you. We are taught 5 waqt namaz padna zaruri hai, but not every Muslim follows it. Somewhere down the line,
do you follow it?
No, I'm not able to follow it, and I'm very honest about it. I would love to, but I can't. But I think of Allah every moment of my life. So my logic is that let's play it like that. That see, अगर आप नहीं कर रहे किसी वजह से, अगर इस फिल्म के अंदर जो सीन था कि ये जो कपल है वो नहीं कर सकता, और एक और सीन भी है बहुत खूबसूरत जिसमें वो कहता है अल्लाह मियां समझ जाएंगे, you don't have to wear the hijab. So God will understand if you're stressed right now. But those who believe, go and do it, and it's absolutely all right. So we wanted it to be as normal, without picking on the other character and saying, "Tum kyun nahi pad rahe namaz? Ye galat hai." It's okay, I understand. You're scared, you're defensive, you're worried right now to read namaz in front of people who you believe may not understand what you're doing or look down upon it or not rightly. But there's another character who says, "But I think it's absolutely okay to go ahead and do it because niyat mein mere is waqt namaz padna hai." So I think I would say those are the teachings I believe in also, personally.
In your actual life? In
my actual life. I truly believe that it is, my religion does define me, most certainly. I'm very proud to be a Muslim, but what people would say is I'm an easier going Muslim. I'm a moderate Muslim. But I'm as Muslim can be, to be really honest.
I guess moderate Muslim is yet
all of Indian or Asian orientation, and the conversation they had on that table, and I actually walked out an hour before that dinner ended because I was completely disgusted with their thoughts and their ideologies about Islam, about Muslims, about their perception of the religion and what they thought. They're educated, affluent, well-traveled people. True. And it appalled me that they, with all that education, knew nothing and were talking complete nonsense. And I said, I'm not Muslim. but I'm human. I'm a human being, and I've been taught certain values by my parents. And I felt that people who have these graduation certificates lying so potently placed in their drawing rooms, and they show off their so-called liberal attitude towards the world at large, if they can go against an entire community on the basis of certain information they read in the New York Times or hear the news, I think then that is something that needs to be addressed by at least me. As a filmmaker, I have a platform that's impressionable, and that's the reason why I took it up.
Shah Rukh, have you ever experienced the prejudice? Of course, Kabir has spoken about, not getting a US visa a few times because of your name. You were stopped famously at an airport, held on to for a couple of hours. Some people thought that was the prelude to, my name is Khan.
Yeah, right. Obama's on our speed dial.
But have you, let's say, post 26/11, do you feel, and because Najeeb Jung has written about this, the pressure on Muslims to wear their patriotism, to wear their badge of loyalty, do you feel that even at your stage in life, somehow that you are looked upon as a Muslim to make that condemnation clear all the time, that even you are expected to clarify your position on your religion and terrorism and fundamentalism and all the rest of it?
See, I'll be very honest. I mean, what I say sometimes on public platforms, and I say them because I'm an entertainer, I'm an actor, but I don't think ever, if I'm questioned or have to clarify my stand on being a Muslim or an Indian, I would actually from my heart never clarify it. But yes, of course, if somebody's not understanding it, I'd say it. I've had no big prejudice against me, and that's what I want all the young Muslims to know very, very clearly, wherever they are coming from, that first let's just get that out of our heads, that people are prejudiced.
But is that because you're Shah Rukh Khan?
I don't know. See,
before you were Shah Rukh Khan, I guess those were different times.
I was 25, 20 to 25 is the time I can talk about. But I've never been picked on about my, the religion I belong to. And I really want this to be very clear. If we keep on also thinking, see, forget the fact that there is a certain section of people, because of the action of certain section of people, think that Islam is a violent religion. Accept it. But we as Muslims, I think we need to be very clear. Let's take this out that I need to explain it. Like, I'll tell you very honestly, my kids get stopped at security because their name is Khan also. It comes on that in America specifically. They have those SSS things on it. They go, so they say, why have you stopped? So I say, it's fun, we are special. So they just go down, they really do. We're taken to a different section with those feet on the ground. So they just stand and they say, we are special. You guys are stars. So, hopefully they'll grow up thinking they are Muslim. But I don't have any issue with it because I think it's all right. If action of some people have put a little blot, or to say the least, on the whole religion, I think we need to accept it and say it's all right, and we're not paying a price for it. That I won't do. I will never try to tell anyone. I'm not going to justify to anyone how good it is to be a Muslim. I'm not going to justify to anyone how wonderful it is to be an Indian. But I'm very clear that yes, we have to accept the fact that there is a blot. There is some kind of a dog. And if it is there, certain things are going to be said against us. This is the life we lead. These are the times we have created. This is the world we have chosen upon ourselves by the action of you. Now, that is why it is more important that if all of us start thinking like this, okay, look, let me go and let Karan decide. I like this guy. Oh, he's Shah Rukh. He's talented. He's an actor. And yes, I'm not a specialist in my religion. I'm not a specialist.
Yeah.
Many a times people ask me, do you do this? And I'm like, no, but I'm still a Muslim.
Yeah.
You do this? Like even singing and dancing, in a certain sense, in a very
orthodox
sense, is the wrong thing to do. But I make a living out of singing and dancing. So how do I explain? My logic is, please can we understand all the clergy, all the mullahs, all the ulemas who know that they're specialists. Just because I'm not a specialist does not make me less of a Muslim.
Of this image, which Najeeb says is actually offensive to a lot of people of our generation. Where does this construct come from? That when you think of the Muslim in visual images, almost always is somebody like yourself.
Actually, as far as Muslims are concerned, when I see a Muslim wearing a cap, having a beard, I'm proud of it. When I see a lady covering her head, I'm proud of it. First, you should understand what is the meaning of the word Muslim. Muslim means a person who submits his will to Almighty God. And Islam, to understand Islam, don't look at the Muslims. To understand Hinduism, don't look at the Hindus. Go to the original scriptures. So if you go to the scriptures, the Quran and the Sahih Hadith, I'm sorry, I differ with Brother Najeeb. There are various hadith in Sahih Bukhari, if you read volume number 7, in the book of dress, that the Prophet covered his head. So covering the head is the sunnah of the Prophet. So to say that covering the head is not a part of Muslimanity, totally wrong. The beard is a part of the Muslim identity. Wearing the cap or at least covering the head, whether with a scarf or with a gatra like that of blue.
But sir, what about what Shahrukh said? And I know a lot of my friends say this, that and all of us, no matter what faith we come in, we interpret our faith differently. We take away some things, we don't do some things. Does that make us any less of Hindus, Muslims, Christians?
No, as I said, that Muslim is a person who submits will to God. So you cannot say a liberal Muslim or a moderate Muslim. You can say practicing Muslim or partly practicing or non-practicing. That's more correct. You know, and to understand Islam, don't look at the Muslim, don't look at me. Go to the scriptures. That is the reason I give talks on Islam and comparative religion.
You feel, you know, many people have questioned my labeling of or my looking for the moderate Muslim. Yet there are others who say that we don't hear enough moderate voices. We either hear the religious voices or we hear the non-believing.
Because I don't think anybody is really interested in what the moderate Muslim has to say, because it's not very interesting. It's sort of boring. We're represented by extremists who have violent opinions, perhaps. I'm talking about vandals. And I think maybe also more recently, I was asking my mother when I was asked to come on this show. I said, in your time, when you married my father, and you had an interreligious marriage, which presumably at that time, 40 years ago, was more controversial than it is today. Were you ever asked to defend your identity, to defend your choice of religion, what it means to be Hindu or Muslim, the way that we are today? And she said, no, not at all. It was a no comment issue. You just said no comment and you moved on in life. Over the past, maybe ever since I've been in cinema, certainly, it's an issue. And there is, people do ask me, do you feel aggravated by what is happening as a Muslim? Do you feel the need to stand up for your religion because it is being misrepresented in the media? And I think for me, religion is a very private matter. It's between my maker and me, and it's not something that I would want to discuss in any public forum, even this one. We should be talking about an Indian identity as opposed to a Muslim identity.
Okay,
Muslims. Is it easy for them to say that we want to be liberals, we don't want to carry ourselves into the conservative group, or are they actually shadowed by the gather of the people around them?
Who wants to take that? I mean, someone who's had an experience, in a sense, with straddling between orthodox. Shahrukh, what would you say to your kids? I mean, how important is it for you for them to have a sense of their faith?
No, very clearly they need to have a sense of their faith, because my parents have brought me up with this faith, and I'm very, very proud of this faith. It's taught me a lot of nice things, and I think a lot of the things that I lead in life, though leading an immensely commercial and a glamorous life, so to say, from the outside, I think all the good things that I think I'm doing, because I always go back to my faith and remember, okay, we have to be tolerant, and I want my children to know this faith very clearly.
But if your kids asked you, what is my religion, what would you say?
My daughter did ask me one day. She came back and she said, you know, teacher, when somebody asked her, are you a Hindu or a Muslim? And I said, say you're a Christian. It's absolutely all right. We are Indians. Let's not go there. But yes, I make them pray as much as I can in the
Both
Islamic
faiths.
way. My wife does it in her faith. And the fact is that we are very clear that we accept it with ease.
Kabir, you wanted to say something? Shahrukh's sister-in-law being forced after 9/11 to go out without her hijab. And in a sense, that was the vulnerability of the Muslim in post 9/11 America. But you use the hijab in a sense as a symbol of religious independence. But a lot of women have not resolved the question of the headscarf.
To me, the hijab is truly representative of the identity of the woman, and it's also a part of her religion and what brought her up. This came out of our research. I went to various organizations like CARE and ACLU in America, and there were millions, I mean lots of women in America who had to give up the hijab because they didn't want those stares at tube stations or food markets. Families forced them. There were husbands that really, really forced them to give up the hijab. But eventually, I felt she touched base with herself and her identity. There were moments that we actually had to edit out, where throughout there were times where actually she would just, her hand would go towards the head because she just felt different, and that bothered her on an emotional, on a physical level.
Can I just say one thing? I don't think that action condemns. I condemn the people who've done, say, what we showed in the film or anywhere in the world, but I don't condemn it as an anti-religious act. I condemn it as an anti-free will act. If she wants to, faith is about free will. If she wants to wear it, it's absolutely all right. It could be a hijab, it could be a bikini, it could be a t-shirt, it could be a shirt, it could be whatever.
Intimidation.
लेकिन ये
It's not
लेकिन अगर अपने
intimidating.
शौक से पहन रही हैं,
Absolutely.
मैं अपने शौक से दाढ़ी रख रहा हूँ तो मुझे हक तो है पूरा,
Absolutely.
लेकिन मैं मॉडरेट मुस्लिम नहीं हो सकता, ये भी एक बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है।
नहीं, इतना हमें भी caricature मत करिए मीडिया में. But so you were saying,
I
it
was
is
saying again, if it's
intimidation.
free will. I have a problem with people who exert violence or force on you, which is scary. That as a person, whether you choose to stand up for your identity or not, if somebody tells you you cannot, you must not, that is what I have a problem with, in a country where we're supposed to respect free speech.
Najib, but look at the debate in France. Sarkozy wants to ban any overt religious symbolism, whether it's the turban or the hijab in
That is
public.
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous?
That is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
How can you ban somebody's belief?
It must be personal choice.
There are two aspects here. One is the forcibly taking off of the hijab. You know, such thing always happens when a community is under attack for a circumstance, which is 1984, Sikhs were made to shave off their heads in
Yes.
India. Similarly, a lot of hijabi women were made to take off. I struggle with the other aspect of the statement the young lady made there. She would counsel her friend. Now there lies the problem that when you start counseling, and all proselytizing religions unfortunately believe in counseling, which may not be acceptable.
And Dr. Nayak, that's what you do.
Yes, of course, that's my... because that's the verse of the Quran. In Surah Imran, chapter 310, it is the duty of every Muslim that Allah says, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas, ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar. That we have made you the best of community because you enjoy what is good and forbid what is wrong. If you feel that you are doing something wrong, if I feel that you're doing an act which will harm you, for example, you're having drugs, so it's my duty as a good human being to tell you don't have drugs, it's going to harm you. That time people won't object. So similarly, when I feel if someone is doing something wrong which is bad for his human body, and if I tell him, so why do people object? But that's my belief.
But Kabir would call this a lot of ritualism that creates that construct.
Not ritualism.
Yeah, so in this whole
Yeah.
free will, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just...
I'm not trying to go...
If I could ask you a question, does your mother wear a hijab? Your mother wears a hijab. Now, here's where the free will comes in. I'm just... It's a thought. I wonder if she would still choose to wear if her mother was not wearing a hijab and when she came of age, she was given the choice.
It's our own
It's
model.
very difficult.
I would
It's very
really like to
difficult.
answer this question.
Because I've sort of been born and brought up in a Muslim
Yeah.
family, and I've seen this in my own large extended family, and I've seen only the parts of the family where the mother's been wearing hijab, the daughter has taken to hijab, my cousins, and the mother who has not been wearing hijab, strangely, the daughter has not taken up the hijab. So I'm a little confused about this.
So
It's a
free
thought I'm
will
trying
is a complicated thing. Okay, I'm seeing lots of hands here before I go back to... Yeah, hang on. Go ahead.
I'm a Muslim. I think the burqa or the hijab should be personal choice. As she said that she is okay with a friend who's not wearing, but she'll explain to her that this is wrong. So that means she does take it somewhere that it's wrong if you're not wearing it. Which is not, because at the end of the day, what I don't know Islam too much, but I know that much that's been passed on to me by my parents.
She's entitled to her opinion.
Would you consider it wrong if I told her, darling, wear dresses, not a t-shirt?
No,
Can't we
that's
take it
not-
as easy as that?
But I would also say, but Shah Rukh, I'm not comfortable. We'd have a discussion about it.
Yeah, one second. Let me just hear some more voices. Dr. Nayak, give me a second. There are lots of voices here. I just want to get some of them.
My mom does not wear a hijab, and I remember that when my sister entered her 10th, she's my elder sister, so she opted to wear a hijab because she wanted to wear it. Unfortunately, she was not accepted by the society where we live in, and there used to be continuous query about it, that as to why she wearing a hijab. In fact, all the society used to think that my mom has become very, very strict with my sister.
So you're saying your mother doesn't wear one, but your sister wore one of free will.
Yeah, but
that's
the
free will.
society...
That I would accept as free will.
Yeah.
You want to stand up and just make your point, then I go back to the panel.
See, the point is, she decided to take the hijab after her 10th standard. Did anyone ask her why? And if people were being curious about it, I mean, it's natural. If you've seen someone growing up in front of you and her mom doesn't wear a hijab and suddenly she decides to don one, you are going to worry, right? It's like, what's happening? Why is she doing this?
Okay, one second. That's the operative part. You are going to worry. Hang on, guys. Hang on. 1 second. We'll go back to the panel. You want to say something?
Yeah, why would you worry? I mean, if tomorrow if I start wearing Western clothes, will you worry about my psychological effect? I don't think so.
Okay, she's saying she used the wrong word. But there's some serious questions at the heart of this, and I want to go back to the construction of that image. Karan, when you as a filmmaker want to portray a Muslim, how important was it for you when you were projecting Shah Rukh, and you obviously had a lot of things to say about religion, to make him a practicing Muslim, as Dr. Nayak calls it?
We were very clear from the very beginning that there was Rizwan Khan, to me, is somebody who professes humanity and is not carrying Islam on his sleeve. Only when he prayed in reverence, he wore the cap, but there was nothing Islamic about his look, because for me, he's an ambassador of humanity, not an ambassador of Islam.
Look of Muslims Is it not a deeper thing than that?
No.
I think it is a much
It's not as simple.
I mean, if it's just a simple thing, we're discussing so much about the fact कि हमारी दाढ़ी होनी चाहिए, skull cap होना चाहिए, hijab पहनना चाहिए, कि उसका warism होना चाहिए. I'm just feeling कि is it only a matter of look? I don't think so.
No, of course
I
it's
think
not.
yeah, it is not.
Of course
so I
it's
think
not.
we should go beyond that. Not here only. I'm just talking as generally in the world कि ये सब तो छोड़ ही देते हैं. अभी वो French Prime Minister को अगर कोई problem है हिजाब से तो है. वो उनकी कंट्री का रूल है, उनका हमको भी उसके अगेंस्ट स्टैंड नहीं चाहिए. जाने दीजिए.
A lunatic fringe has begun to represent our community.
But that's what I wanted to talk
And
about.
I
That
really
definitely
believe
the clergy, the ulemas, the mullahs, they're all these specialists.
You
They
don't
have-
think they're the fringes as
No, I don't think so. I don't
Kabir
think you cannot even, I don't think you can ignore them. I just think it's very important that this whole culture for every religion, the guys who know it the best need to be there. We need to understand, maybe more than we need to understand, they need to explain it in a way which is understandable. And I truly believe, like if you were to ask me personally, like you asked, okay, why do we talk about a religious identity? Whether, I don't have a choice now. This is what I'm born as. And I love being born as a
You
Muslim
have a
now.
choice, sir.
No, I mean I didn't have
I had a choice and I gave it up at the age of 18 when
It's
I
okay.
could vote.
No, absolutely. I make the choice. I had it. I've made it. And I want to be Muslim. And I'm very proud to be one. Now I am letting my children know about the religion. I think I know the best in the most understandable, nice manner. And inshallah, they will also be Muslims. But I'm not going to teach them perhaps the whole, the clergy, very strict way of Islam. I will teach them the way I
Not
think.
a puritanical interpretation.
Absolutely. So I'm going to teach it to them like this.
Okay, I need to take a quick break for this young girl's been trying to make a point for a long time.
Yeah, actually this is a real life incident that happened in class. Now this girl, she just stands up and she says that, why do you differentiate? What if a mother has a good child and a bad boy? Now who would you really, would the mother really say, do away with the bad son? Or would she train him to become a good guy? And, indirectly, in an inch, she was identifying the bad guy for a Muslim, to be a Muslim. And the good boy to be a Hindu. Which was very surprising and she didn't really realize it. She being a Muslim herself.
Alright, so there's you want to say something?
I want to know that the definition of Islam and Muslim keeps on changing from person to person, or
Quick
is it
comment
the
from you,
same
because
one?
we've had some people from the film industry who have spoken about it is difficult to get a house for a Muslim in Mumbai. You said you've never really experienced any real prejudice. But do you know people who have?
I wouldn't know, and I can just, because I think I should just joke about this. I went, that's why I didn't go looking for a flat. I thought I'll just buy a whole building. But I'd be very honest about this whole thing. I think कहीं पे कभी कभार ऐसा issue हर चीज में, चाहे आप हिंदू हैं, चाहे मुसलमान हैं, vegetarian हैं, non-veg हैं, ये problems होती हैं. I think we should just try to contain it a little and not make it an issue. हर religion के अंदर fundamentalists can mislead youth by giving this garb of this opium. They say religion is the opiate of the masses. You can convince anyone कि ऐसा होगा, आप चलिए. Good oratorship. Young people who don't have a job easily misled by Islamic fundamentalist or Hindu fundamentalist, or if there is something as a Christian fundamentalist.
Alright.
I'm a big fan of yours, but Qurban, I think it used sensationalism and sort of making the terrorist a hero. It made me feel like I was supposed to like Saif Ali Khan at the end of it. I mean, that's not right.
We never wanted you to like or dislike. We were going through the beats of a character. And actually, there was a lot of negativity that we got, and we were saying that we were succumbing to stereotyping as well, which was never the case, never the intention.
I completely disagree with the film Qurban, and I've told him so.
No, but what disturbed you about Qurban?
I just felt there was a group of people in hijab, with a dadi, with a skull cap. Everybody was bad. I did not see one good person. ऐसे कहाँ पर होता है? This is the image sometimes we have of the fringe Muslim groups, and I don't think we should in any which way. I mean, ये तो picture है. I also don't take
Possibly,
The
it was not
propagation of
unintentional
this,
and it went.
maybe, I mean, I'm all for making whatever kind of film you want to and putting it out there.
Absolutely.
I'm against censorship. But maybe as a society we're not ready for it and we require some kind of sensitive filmmaking. Or
Really has to be the last question.
Why are people just looking at the people who are killing other people for jihad? I'm going through jihad. There are 50 people asking me that you're a Muslim, you pray. I said, yes, I pray. So they're like, what are your views about the Taliban? I'm striving, I'm struggling myself, explaining to them. And why don't the people portray the good side of jihad? What I'm doing, what he's doing, what everyone is doing.
I have to take last comments, and let me start with you, Dr. Nayak.
The Muslims should know how to reply to the misconception about Islam. Today, if you analyze the media, for example, just about more than a week back,
Yeah.
you found in the headlines that there was a bomb in Pune, about 19 people were killed, suspects Muslim. Same time, there were about 16 policemen killed.
That was
killed
also
by
a
the mob.
headline.
It came
That
as
was
newspeak.
also a headline.
Why are you saying Muslims killing? So the others are Maoists, the others are, you know, some other organization, but the Muslims are a religious grouping. It's weird. Why don't we say, you know, whatever those people are? I mean, why do we always...
So, I think I have a number of identities as someone who lives in Bombay. I happen to be Muslim. I am an Indian. And I think that my aspirations have nothing to do with my religion or my faith. I mean, I want a big house, I want to get married, I want a family, I want to be successful. And that's who I am.
Karan?
I've always felt very strongly, and I feel strongly because it comes from a space of understanding around me. I'm not saying a film can change a mind space, it can't change the mental makeup of this country, but if you can go back home and question your beliefs about a community, then I think maybe I've serviced cinema in some way.
I personally feel as a Muslim, I'd like to tell every Muslim that if you don't know your religion well enough, if you're not able to practice it well enough, if your knowledge is less, Allah Ta'ala aapko maaf kar denge. Lekin being a Muslim, if you're not able to explain your religion to the other people who are not understanding it, ye dunya aapko maaf nahi karegi. You need to be very, very clear that we cannot take this stand ki agar aap samajhte nahi mat samjho, main to ladunga. Nahi. Acceptance of this and explaining is what I think in the long run will sort out the problem.
Well, I think it's fair to say, where we started, that there is a crisis, but I think to hear all of you today, you may not agree on everything.